Hey guys, I'm Sarah and I play a lot of Symmetra. And today is going to be another one of my deep dive guides for Symmetra turret placement, and this time it will be on Anubis defense. Just to get this out of the way right up front, which is not to say that Symmetra can't be played on attack on Temple of Anubis. I've seen a lot of people do it successfully and a lot of people do it unsuccessfully, but that is not really the scope of today's video. So this video is like super detailed, so I'm going to I'll go around and really talk about all of the turret placements that I like to use on Anubis and what has worked for me and what hasn't worked for me. So I guess settle in, because there's a lot of detail here. So the first thing I wanted to mention is a lot of times you'll see a Symmetra put turrets right around the spawn points. Like right there, again, around the attack spawn. The reason that I really don't like doing that on this map is because I feel like the most effective turret placement at this gate is something that takes a little time to set up. And if you are gonna, like when you're deciding whether to put turrets out like around the attacker spawn, A, it takes a lot of time to go out there and set it up. But B, it means that if you have like a place where you really do want to center your turrets, like a high value place, a high traffic place, you might not necessarily have time to set that up, depending on what the attacking team does. And so if you watched my King's Row video, I talked a lot about that there. But one thing that's really different about King's Row is that if you're setting up turrets in the wall at King's Row, you have a pretty safe place to do it. Like, you're hiding behind the walls, you can put those turrets up there without being in, like, danger. But with Temple of Anubis, where I really like to set up my initial turrets is two of them here. And then two of them up here, which can sometimes, if you're in a hurry, be kind of a hassle to get to, because like you'll fall off this. And so I like kind of do that little maneuver to put two of them up there. And so like as you can see, while I'm setting these up, I'm extremely vulnerable to anybody who's out here and anybody who's out here, which is where the attacking team is going to be like 99% of the time. So with Temple of Anubis, I very rarely actually set up turrets out here or up here to get fast alt charge. So I mean, I've seen people do it, but this is what has worked well for me. And you'll notice that all these turrets have are not really visible until you're right on top of them. Like, you can sort of see those through there, and of course they'll be red to the enemy team, but they're really not that visible. And so generally the principle that I apply, if you've watched my other videos, you've heard me say this before, is that you want your turrets to see their target all at once, like as many of them to see the target at one time, and have your target not actually see the turrets until they're within range of them, ideally being shot in the back. So like what you want to do is have them come in here. They still can't really see. If they're looking up, I guess they can see that one, but they really have no clue yet that the turret is here. And then as they walk through, suddenly they're getting shot by like 3 of them probably right off the bat. And if they keep walking forward just like the tiniest bit before they realize what's happening, then they have like the 4th one of these shooting them. And so this is really where I like to start most games on Temple of Anubis. And so in terms of positioning, like this is a turret guide rather than a positioning guide, but what I really like to do is, if you have a team that's supporting you, and by that I mean you've got like people up here shooting at the gate, you have a healer who's floating around in this region who's helping keep you alive. If you have a good team, then what I like to do is hang out in here and then wait until someone steps in and who thinks they can take a Symmetra one-on-one, and then like entice them in, and then as they start attacking me, my turrets get them and I like hit them with my beam, and then they die way faster than they expect to, and then I like go back in here into my little cave and like heal up with the small health if I need to. Or usually by that time, like if I'm baiting someone over here like a Hanzo or a Genji or something, I'll usually like hang out here, but while that's happening, sometimes they're also trying to like push in here to their left, our right. And so usually by the time this happens, like 1 or more of my turrets is down. So like I'll attack someone here and then hop up here and like try to place one really, really fast before to sort of keep this strong. And so that's what I do, and as long as we're holding them at the gate, it works pretty well. Another place that I've used with great success is putting turrets in here. I guess this is kind of an alternative. At different times, I've like only done or primarily done this as Symmetra, and at other times I've done sort of this cutting off this right flank. I really like to put them up here in this corner because, again, you don't want them to see the turrets until it's too late. So like if they come in here and they get here, they're like, oh, maybe there's no Symmetra that on this map yet. And so, especially if you don't have them up here. So they're just walking in and everything looks nice and clean and easy, and then they come in and there are these three. Now, I generally like to keep turrets spaced out so they aren't overly visible, so they aren't all in one place, so that like a D.Va can take them out in 1 second. I would like that D.Va to have to be like shoot, 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 and have it take her like 3 times as long to take your turrets down. But in this case, I think it's really necessary as you're in this room to put them over here in this corner, because almost anywhere else they're going to be visible. You could put them up here, but one problem about that is that they're really visible. Like, as soon as you come in, that makes them really visible to everybody over here. Whereas if they get all the way in here, like, it isn't necessarily the full enemy team, the full attacking team, who will be able to see that you're getting attacked. Like, you go in here and you turn around and you're looking for them and you shoot them, and the rest of the team might not know exactly where they are. And so, so the second, now this is one part of a 2-part plan. So this one wouldn't be here because I don't like that one. But the second part of this plan is they think like, haha, phew, my health is down at, 25% of what it normally is. Now I'll start my flank. And then when you come out here, this is when you like do the 1-2 punch. And so I like to put them like really as far away from one another as I can. And like maybe like that, say, so that it takes them a while to take them out. And then when they come through this door, these 3, I'll get them while they're frantically trying to shoot them down. They're severely damaged from these ones in here. And then it takes them out the rest of the way. So I really like doing this a lot. I sort of go back and forth between whether I like doing this sort of 1-2 punch on the right flank or these ones holding at the gate. If you have a really organized team, I think having these organized at the gate is usually better, because when I've had this gate set up and an organized team, I've been able to really hold down, like sometimes we can just win and they never get to the first point. Whereas with this, they can come into the right. If you don't have a team that's as well organized, like it does sort of cut off that flank, but they'll sort of just keep trying eventually. And so I feel like this is good for a less organized team, because it's just it cuts off that flank, and you don't have to depend on everybody else doing what they're supposed to do to really have a strong impact. So it varies, though. I think they're both really good methods, and I have used both of them successfully. Now, something I've seen a lot of other Symmetras do is put turrets in here. I don't like doing that as much because this health is here. And so, like, if a Lucio comes in, let's say I'm dedicating, like, I have these turrets here, I don't know, maybe one over here. So Lucio comes in, he sees this one, he shoots it right away, he's on the lookout already for others, and he takes these out, and then he hits this. And so I feel like this room, it just seems like it's harder to kill people in, and so I usually don't bother with it. If I'm going to bother cutting off a flank, I'll cut off that flank, because this one is just not going to give me kills. And kills are what slow them down and keep them from making progress. And so you don't want to just like damage them and then Mercy gets ult charged by them getting healed, or they get ult charged if it's a Mei or something. But you want them to die. And so that's why I feel like if you're going to cut off a flank here, cutting off this one with that method is usually the best way to go. But let's say they get through. They're through the gate, and I'm walking back from spawn. Usually I've died if they're all through the gate. And so then I'm coming back from my defense spawn, I'm coming out here. Usually as I walk back, I know that there are probably some guys in this region over here. There might be someone flanking like up these steps, going up there. And also this area is really, they could have an enemy in it, a McCree or a Widow or an Anna hanging out in this room. It seems like places they like to hang out, shooting people through this little bridge area. So usually what I do when I come back out, if I don't know what the situation is, and especially if I have a team that isn't being overly communicative and saying like who's where, what I usually do right off the bat is I try to prioritize this bridge. And so what I do is I use my same sort of principles that I've used before, where I want to keep my turrets as far apart as I can. And so I might do something like this minimally. And then if I learn that maybe by coming over here to these steps that I see that there are actually guys in that far room, then what I might do, if it's like safe for me to walk back across here because there's not a Widow in there, I might come over here and put a couple of them here so that as they jump like as you get a Farah or somebody jumping off of this platform over here, or like a McCree, even just some normal hero who isn't even necessarily able to fly, to jump over here, then they get hit by like all 4 of these, and they're really far apart, so it takes them a while to take it out. So I've gotten a lot of kills that way. I feel like this is a really good setup for kind of holding this point with the hope sometimes of getting back to holding the gate. Now, if that does happen, great, go back out here. Oftentimes, I'm not able to, like, it's just not safe enough for me to come up here and set up my initial gate again. So if that's the case, I'm way likelier to do something like to go in the right flank here and set up some turrets like the 1-2 punch that I mentioned earlier, or another area that I'll use, although it's not very common that we have. Well, let me back up. If I can't set up something at the gate, and for whatever reason I can't get in there to set up those, I will often try to set up sort of in this little pinch point, this little choke area, which is actually a reasonably good place. I feel like people don't think of this as a choke, but you can put turrets in several different areas here and really cover them, and it also gets people as they come out of here. And so I don't get an opportunity to do this very often, because it's sort of rare that we've lost the gate, and also it's unsafe enough at the gate that I can't put my turrets back up, but at the same time we aren't pushed all the way back into here because they're all over the place, like over up there or over in there. But in the event that that happens, I really like this. It's usually effective. You'll get like an Ana or a Widow or someone who comes out here and is scoped in, and then they'll get killed and they won't even notice until it's too late. And also, again, these turrets are pretty far apart, so they're hard to see. I would not put turrets on this side. Like, this would be a poorly placed turret, because anybody who comes through the gate is going to be able to see it really easily, long before they get into range of it. And as I'm saying this, I can see that this one is actually visible right here. So probably a better place than that would be putting it on this side instead of this one. And that sort of goes back to a principle I also mentioned in the other video, which is, like, test out your turret placements and make sure they are as well hidden as you believe they are. And so, like, if you get an opportunity to be sort of where the enemy is, try to take note of what you can see and what you can't. So anyway, so I would try these right here. I don't usually bother with flanking, with cutting off the flank over here with turrets on this left side. The reason being that I've said this in my other video as well, I think you really want to put your turrets in a high traffic area. You want them to be doing the most damage that they can all the time, because like, if you have them in some room that nobody ever walks into, then, like, they're basically just being wasted. If they kill one person, like, I guess that's great, but it would be way better if they were able to kill a lot more people. So, so the reason that I don't really bother with this left flank is because it just is too, there are just too many paths. You know, they can come up here, and they can go through this room, or they can go through this room. And both of those, like, don't really have great places to get them, and so there are just too many flanks on that side. So I don't usually bother with that. On rare occasions, well, no, actually, I guess it's not really that rare. Like, if I go back to the beginning of the match when I was talking about setting up that 1-2 punch over here on the right, lots of times if I have, like, a Bastion or someone who's sitting here, which is a play that I haven't seen in a long time but used to be very popular. If I have a Bastion here, I'll often put 2 turrets up here in this corner, so that if someone tries to come in to get him, then he gets this, like, additional sort of help in taking them out. And again, I'll also put my, like, set the stage 2 of the 1-2 punch up here. And if that's the case, sometimes I'll often, instead of being at the gate, I'll come out here and hang out behind the Bastion and try to just really proactively make sure there are turrets up. So if I see that somebody took down the turrets that are inside in this corner, I'll like walk past my Bastion and put them back up and leave, because the Bastion is pretty good cover to do that. So, and so if then we have to retreat, what I do like doing in this room, and I don't really get an opportunity to do it very frequently, is to put turrets up here. And you can, you know, spread them out in the 4 corners of the room. And this is a pretty effective way to get some kills in the event that you guys are starting to losing your grip on the gate, but you happen to be in this room, which, as I say, doesn't happen to me very frequently, but when it does happen, this is what I like to do, and it is usually pretty effective. You can also do a similar thing if you have a team that's, like, really tightly organized, maybe like a Bastion and a Reinhardt and a Mercy sitting up here. Sometimes what I'll do is set up something like this to protect them from that right flank if I decide not to put my turrets up at the gate. And similarly, I would maybe put them over here too, around this door. People seem to have a lot of trouble taking these out because usually if they're coming up here, there aren't 0 enemies in front of them. Like there's someone, there's a McCree in this room, or there's a Bastion right here, or there's a Mercy shooting at them, or whatever. So they're usually non-zero number of heroes, or of enemies. And so as they come out here, they get shot in the back with these 4 turrets, and that's pretty effective for getting a lot of kills. So be aware of this as a tool you can use, even though personally I don't find that I'm in this situation very often. But anyway, so let's say that we tried to retake the gate, we weren't able to retake it. So now I'm walking back again, and I do my normal sort of point A defense, which is to set some stuff up here. I might not use this 4th one, actually. I might just use the 3 of these. And if it seems like we're really keeping them out, like they're all there, we know where all the enemies are, I would probably focus more of my turrets on this bridge, because it's really effective, I find. But, and so sometimes I will actually just put 6 turrets right here on this bridge, and then as people come through, they'll get kills. But that's really only if everything is really well controlled. If you're in probably a situation that is more common at some point in the game, which is like, you know, there are some guys back here, and there are probably some guys up here, and you don't know where anybody is, and someone could be on the point in any second. Like a second ago, there was a Tracer on the point. I don't know where she went. If you're in that kind of situation, then what I do is I set up my turrets actually on the point. And I have a few different ways that I do this. Usually what the main principle you want to keep in mind is you want the turrets to not be visible from here, or to be as well hidden as possible here. And so, like, just looking from this point, I can tell you what some of those places are. Obviously, on the side of the bridge where they are now. But, like, see this wall right here? Around the right side, just around that wall out of view, this corner, just around that corner out of view, and this doorway just around the corner out of view is a great place. So oftentimes I'll put, like, one here and one here, say. And they mostly aren't visible, but as soon as they get to the point, it starts getting them. I'll often put one here. It's not like that well hidden, but it's not super visible. I mean, it is red, so but that's one that has worked well for me, and you can usually put a second one here. So unless they're being proactive, they might not notice those. And then you have really a lot of them in one place. But another place I really like is what I said before. I'll put it up here as high as possible. And the reason I want to do it as high as possible is, A, I think that the higher they are, the harder it is for, like, someone on the ground to really, like, find them and notice them and, like, track to where they are and then shoot them. But also I want to make it highest here so that if a McCree comes out to stand up on this platform, this will start getting him. Because that'll actually happen quite a bit, that I'll have, like, 1 or maybe even 2 turrets right here. And then a McCree ults from a place like in the back, like closer to that doorway where he can't see that they're there, and then he walks up to the edge of this platform so that he can get all the people on the point, and then he's in his ult, so he can't do anything about them, and then these kill him. So so I really like that spot. And I also will use, like, this wall sometimes, but not usually as much. I mean, it's further back, so just, like, almost always this back part of the point sees less traffic than this front part of the point. So I usually prefer this wall to this one. But depending on how they've been going, if they've been, like, flanking around up here, that's still a little weak because then they can see it from up there usually before it can hit them. But I don't know. Depending, I may put them there. So yeah, usually I'll try to cover this area. Another thing I'll do, depending, is let's say I walk back from spawn, and let's see, I guess I would be taking teleporter if I'm coming up from these stairs, because sometimes I will put a teleporter here. But if I find myself coming down these stairs, or maybe even if I've walked out the normal way, and like, there are people swarming the point, there's fighting going on, but I don't think I'm gonna have time to, like, put turrets in any reasonable place, I'll come back in here and hide in these rooms, and then from here I can put one here without being in a lot of great risk. And then if we're really, like, I just feel like I'm not going to get a foothold by being out here in the cover, what I'll often do then is try to at least block them from getting the health. And so I might do something like this, and I might even put 4 here for a second. And my intention isn't, like, to leave these here permanently, but it's sort of like to get this sort of bastion for my team and to cut off the health to the enemy team. And so what I also might do in that case is put one of these up here, because then if they come in here to get the health, then it'll shoot them in the back before they get there. So, so I like these places too, depending. But normally when I do this, this isn't like, I think of this as a very temporary state. This is just like until we can get our feet under us and be on the point. And once we get our feet under us, then I go back and do what I described before, where I hide them like around the corners. I'll also often hide them like here behind this wall. That's another place that I sometimes use. So let's see. That's probably about everything out here. So let's say I lose the point and we have to go back. If by some miracle we lose the point, but we like call it really early, so I have a lot of time, I might conceivably come out and put turrets here just to get some free, and also here to get some free ult charge as we escape. And so usually like I can see the Reinhardt coming through here as I'm putting like the fourth turret, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, and I drop my shield and I run away as fast as I could while like shooting orbs at him. So those will get taken down like super fast, but I think they're still valuable sometimes. Usually I don't have time to do that though. If I have almost that much time, I might do a similar thing here, right around this doorway. They're on cooldown now, so I won't show you. But you know, I might put them in a similar similar arrangement around this doorway. But we don't always have time for that. So once we get to the point, the places that I like to put them, just like by default until, you know, something changes or I see something unusual about the way the team that we're playing against works, is I'll put one on each of these columns. I'll usually put one here, not high, that one was too high, it would actually be visible. I put it a little bit lower so it wasn't visible. Maybe another one right here, depending. And if they have like a Genji or a Tracer, some people who are likely to be really irritating over here, then I might also put two turrets, like maybe one here and one up here, so that when they come in, it just sort of weakens them a little bit and puts our team in a better position to be able to defeat them. And that's especially something I would do if I decide to use this spot for the shield generator. I know this video isn't really about shield generators and placement, but if I have that back there, which is something I do sometimes, then I would be way likelier to put these turrets here, so that it like serves as warning, but also it's really likely to be a high traffic area. So I would do this if I feel like if they have like a Pharah, for example. I would probably put a few more turrets around this sort of elevated entrance area, because that's going to be a little bit more highly valued. If they have a lot of, like, a Lucio who keeps coming in an irritating way, I would probably do something like this, because he's going to come in on this ground area, and I want as many of them to be able to hit him as possible. Obviously, they might have a Pharah and a Lucio and a Genji and a Tracer who are doing this. So like you have to make the call as to what seems likeliest. But like I usually start out with like all 6 of my turrets sort of placed on the point in an arrangement like this. So like you can see all 6 of them are on the point. Obviously this one would be better if it were down here because I want them to be furthest as far apart as possible. But I'll usually start on point B with an arrangement like this, and then if they have a Genji who keeps harassing us back here on the left, then I would probably put 2 under here. Another thing I might do instead of these 2 lower down turrets, something I do frequently, is I'll put a turret here, which actually will get me a lot of kills. Like if I put 2 turrets here, or if I put that one lower down, like it'll get people who've come through here, from that bridge health. It'll also get like someone who is like, okay, I'm gonna jump around this way, and it'll shoot them both in the back. And so I actually get a surprising amount of kills with turrets in this arrangement. But I find they're a little bit difficult to like stay on top of, because they'll get taken down, and then I have to like go down there. And when I'm down here, I can't really see what's going on. It's not so much that I'm in a risky area personally, but like my attention might be better spent elsewhere, because if I'm here on the point, I can usually see, like, if I happen to be a teleporter back here, a shield generator, or this shield generator over here, and I can see like who's coming in everywhere. And so every time I go down here to replace these 2 turrets, there's kind of a cost to that. And so so I would like try to keep those up, but I would prioritize more highly keeping these up in here. And I might have an arrangement like this. And so then if those two are down, and I only have 4 turrets, and I'm like looking for an opportunity where it's convenient for me to go over here and replace these. If I don't have time to replace them, like right now, I'll just place a turret here because it's better to have a turret up somewhere that can do some work. And so I might just be like, all right, well, these are here, and then I'll wait until I have my opportunity to come down and replace these and wherever they are. So that's sort of how I think about this point. If I see that they're making a right flank push, then I'll often put them on this wall. So this wall is mostly a place I avoid because a Pharah or a Widow or a Soldier or a McCree who's coming up on this side can see it really easily and just take them down, like, no problem. And sometimes you'll see that happening with these, but I just am really religious about putting them back up right away. And, you can angle them to the side if you need to, so if they, like, are frequently getting them from over here, like, make sure they're slightly less visible. But, so normally I would never put them on this wall. But if I'm up here on the point and I see a whole bunch of them going in here on this right flank, then I would put a lot of them on the wall because I know they aren't going to stay there that long. I try not to put them up too high because I still don't want them to be as visible, but I'll often do something like this, and maybe even up here if I think that like it's a big push. And so then when they start to like make their big push and come in here, these will take them out. On the other hand, sometimes with those big pushes, you have like a Zen ult or something, or like Winston will drop his bubble and then it protects the whole team. So it's not surefire, but it's still better because otherwise, if they come out here, they can see like this one and this one and this one and this one. Like, so like if they're making that push, you're probably better off having your turrets here than anywhere else. And I don't really see too many points or pushes on the left, so I don't really have an equivalent position that I use for that. Some people I know, and at different times in the past, I have put turrets in here. I normally don't bother for sort of the same reason as the health room I said before, because I'm so unlikely to be able to really kill them in here. Because they can, like, A, they can get this health, B, like, they might enter that door, or they might enter this door, and so I can't really cover them both very effectively, and I would have to really dedicate a lot of turrets to covering this area effectively, and I feel like it's more important to have them on the point, since the point can be accessed via, like, so many different directions. Having said that, sometimes if I come out of spawn and there's a push happening on the right flank, I might do something like this. So like maybe they're already fighting with some of my teammates, and before anyone really notices me, I might start doing that and then start like beaming them as much as I can. And so something that's really not going to be visible until they're already up here. So I might do something like that in a hurry if a push like that's already begun and I'm already here. But and that would also be if I could see that most of the enemy team is in this region. Because if it's just like one guy, I would not bother with this because there are 5 other guys and they're probably going to be coming to the point. And so it would be more important to have, my normal arrangement that I do here on the point. On rare occasions, I might have, like, if I come out and the point is, like, actively under fighting, like there are 3 or 4 guys in the enemy team, there are 3 or 4 of our guys, then I'll try to continue putting up turrets. Like, I'll basically be like, is someone shooting at me and I need to escape? Like, if not, is there someone that I can be shooting at and likely kill? If not, place a turret anywhere, like on any surface. Generally, I find that if you put them higher, they don't get taken out as quickly as if I put them on the ground. Sometimes I've seen Symmetras, I'm sure you guys have seen too, Symmetras put them on the ground. But I normally, I think those get taken out a lot faster. Because, like, if you're here, you can't even see that one, but you can see this one. So, anyway, I find just, like, if you're panic turreting, then just put them high up and put them anywhere. And so I'll often do that if everything is just, like, complete chaos. And I try to put them as high as I can. I would be unlikely to put them back here, even if I have a teleporter back here or a shield generator, because I just don't think it's high traffic enough, and then they just go to waste all the rest of the time. So I think that's about it. If we have someone who's super, like, if they know this is back here and we have a Genji or someone who's definitely coming back to get it all a bunch of times, I would maybe do something like this, because I want to get them, again, without them being able to know it until it's too late, so that as they walk through here, they're like, I'm going to get that shield gen, and then they start getting killed by those. And even over here, they're probably still in range, I'm not sure, but But so if somebody was being really proactive at going after this, I would probably do this kind of arrangement and dedicate more turrets than I otherwise would to protecting it. So I guess that is about it with Symmetra with Symmetra on Anubis. I think that covers most of my thinking around that. A couple things to mention. I'm Sarah, and my channel is Sarah Watch. I do stream regularly on YouTube, so if you want to find out when I'm streaming next, you can follow me on Twitter, up here on the upper left, at Overwatch Sarah, and I usually announce before I stream, like earlier in the day. I stream 2 or 3 times a week at an afternoon specific time. Also, I wanted to thank my Patreon supporters who have very kindly made pledges to support me every month, which allows me to make the Overwatch content that I do and to stream as much as I do. So I really appreciate you guys doing that. I couldn't do it without you. Finally, excuse me. Finally, I encourage anybody watching this video to come and join us in the Sarah Watch Discord. And you can see down here in the lower right corner, it's discord.sarahwatch.tv. If it's not working for you, try the link in the video description. But we're really nice in there, and we like to talk to people. We talk about Overwatch, we talk about our lives, and it's a nice, warm, welcoming environment, and no one will, like, put you on the spot. Unless you're a dick. You might get put on the spot if you're a dick. But probably you aren't if you're coming to Discord. And if you are a dick, don't come to Discord, because we don't want you. So I guess that's all. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.